Welcome to Joomla Day. Before I start, I'm going to talk not about Joomla, but about my favourite subject, me. Just to explain who is this person that's standing at the front of the stage talking to you, that you're all supposed to sit and listen to. My name is Brian Teeman. I'm one of the co-founders of Joomla. I live in the UK. And professionally, I split my time between doing consultancy and training for large organisations in the UK. Some work for the government. Some work for an organisation which is a huge industrial complex when you go there. And when you look at it on Google Maps, it's a green field. Of course, if I looked at it on an iPad or an iPhone, it would be in the sea. One of my biggest clients is a Joomla intranet with 100,000 users. I'm not allowed to say who they are, but they're finger-licking good. I'd also spend a lot of my time traveling. I think I just calculated this year I'll be doing 125,000 kilometers in the air just for attending Joomla events. So it's quite a lot of time just up in the air. Now, whenever I come to a Joomla event, I'm always worried about, especially when it's called a business day. What am I supposed to wear? It's a business event. Should I be wearing my suit and my tie? Well, I always feel a bit uncomfortable in my suit and my tie. So maybe I should be wearing my tuxedo. But maybe that's a little bit too much. Last time I was in Germany, in Bad Neuheim, I was wearing an Elvis outfit. Looked very good, very heavy, very hot, so I'm not going to wear that. I was very tempted to wear a mankini, but I thought I would save you. It's very early in the morning, you don't really want that. I could have shown off my Joomla tattoo, but again, maybe not. Good morning, Hagen. Nice of you to join us. Please come in. There's a seat right here at the front for you. Come on in, Hagen. Come on in. Yeah, we'll just wait for the latecomer to come in and sit down. Okay, so now that I'm wearing my Joomla clothes, I feel a little bit more comfortable. But that's enough about me for now. I want to know something about you. So could everybody stand up? Okay, Robert. Yeah, I know it's early in the morning, but stand up. This is to wake you up. Okay. What I'm going to do is ask some questions, and then you need to sit down if you get it wrong. So, or if you just answer differently. So, if you have not built a brand new Joomla website this year, sit down. Oh, that's good. If you have never built your own templates, sit down. If you have never created your own Joomla component from scratch, sit down. If you forgot to put on clean underwear this morning, sit down. Yeah, we got one. If you have built your first public website using Joomla 3, you can stay standing up. Otherwise, sit down. Okay, so we've got one at the back of the room. We can sit down now. Thank you very much. So welcome to Joomla Day. Just before we begin, just a few facts about Joomla. It's had massive growth since it first began. When we founded Joomla back in 2005, if anyone would have told me we'd have a website called joomla.org that was getting 7.5 million hits a month, I would have never believed it. I still find it difficult to believe now. Joomla is available in 64 different languages. I always felt it should have been 65. Somewhere on this laptop there is a half-completed Klingon translation. There's only one problem with translating Klingon. It's great for ACL. Access denied. You know, words like that they translate brilliantly. But things like okay, yes, they really struggle for those words. So never quite made it to the Klingon version. We have a huge number of Joomla days all over the world. I think last weekend there was Poland and New York. 2 weekends ago was Poland and New York. Last weekend was Italy. This weekend is Germany. On Wednesday is Israel. Oh, and last weekend was Spain as well. So we've got events all over the world happening all the time. The Joomla forum has 2.6 million posts and 560,000 users. Now, of course, if we included the spammers, we could probably keep going with the zeros across the end. But it's a huge, huge resource. Joomla has been downloaded almost 35 million times. But that's just from joomla.org. Doesn't include the ones from your hosting account or from Joomla DE or any other website like that. And actually, for this particular slide, it should say from 2007. Not 2006 or 2005, because somebody forgot to count the first 2 years, and it got deleted. So we can say almost 35, but we really don't know exactly how many. And Joomla, as you probably know, has a lot of extensions. Right now, 9,998 different extensions. Oh, no, 9,999 different extensions. Someone's just created a new weather module. If somebody goes online right now to check that number, you'll probably see that it says 10,000 and something. But the designer who did this template for me didn't leave enough space for 5 digits, so it's always going to be 4 digits on this presentation. But most importantly, Joomla's about real people. Yeah, it's about the people in this room. It's not about some big corporation sitting there and deciding what you're going to have. It's about the users of Joomla, the people here who make up what Joomla is all about. And I think, if I'm correct, this is a photo from Joomla Day Germany last year. So I'm supposed to be talking about Joomla 3, the big new release. So let's have a quick look at what can we expect in Joomla 3. Well, the first thing we have to know is that how we use our computers and how we use the web has changed. It's evolved. It used to be that we only used the internet when we sat at our office desks on our big computers. And of course now we actually want to use the internet on our iPads, on our Samsung Galaxy tabs, and at our mobile computers and phones. So we want to use the internet everywhere. And this is what Joomla 3 is trying to enable us. Of course, this was then, and this is now. And our cats like to get everywhere, even with the new iPhone 5. So mobile use is rising, and it's rising at an incredible number. Shh.
It's your beard with the microphone.
No? Okay, sorry about that. So mobile use is massively on the increase. The number of people who are using their mobile phones to access the internet is growing and growing at ridiculous numbers all the time. In some countries in the world, more people access the internet through their phone than they do through a computer. So it's not enough just to say, my website isn't for people using their phones. Yeah? Everybody is using their phones and their small devices to access the internet. So don't bury your head in the sand. You've got to make your websites mobile ready and what we call responsive. What do I mean by that? Well, responsive means that the website is going to work nicely on any device size. We're not going to have to pinch and zoom and pinch and zoom. We're not going to have to pan. It's just going to work nicely, and that's one of the things that Joomla 3 is here to do. Now, a lot of work's gone into Joomla 3 to make it faster than Joomla 1.5 and Joomla 2.5. That's faster throughout the entire website, but especially during the installation. So, let's have a look at installing Joomla 3. So, which is faster, Usain Bolt or installing Joomla 3? Usain Bolt or installing Joomla 3? Well, let's have a look. So, on your marks, set, and here's the installation. We've got the first screen, we've got a database in, and there we are, we're logged in with a new world record of 9.42.30 seconds. Well, let's actually have a look at that a little bit slower. So just rewind and put the instant replay on. It's very, very simple now. You put in the site name, optionally put in your description. I see I could have shaved a little bit of time by not putting the description in. The admin email address, the username, which does not default to admin, it's just a suggestion. It's a stupid suggestion, never use it. Then you go next, put in your database details. You would see if you were installing it, there's a lot more different types of databases there now. It's MySQL, MySQLi, Postgres, and Microsoft something or other. I think they have a database. And choose whether you want the sample data, remove your installation folder, and there you are. You're done. I think that recording was at real speed. I think that was about 1 minute and 4 seconds. Yeah, it's really, really fast. I think I was playing around when I was doing the recording. I think I got it down to naturally about 21 seconds. Yeah, so it's really, really fast. I forget to drink if I don't have a slide telling me to have a drink. So that's the installation. Well, now we've got it installed. What does Joomla 3 look like when it's installed? So first of all, that's the login screen. It looks kind of similar. It's changed colors. No big deal. And of course, no, that's Joomla 1.0. And yeah, that's Joomla 1.5. And that's Joomla 2.5. Let's look again. 1.0, 1.5, 2.5. Not a huge amount of difference. Yeah, if you look, it's blues, greens, and back to blue again. Great designers there. A lot of time and effort went into coming up with those color schemes and those changes. There was a nice feature, I suppose, in Joomla 2.5, which was when you hovered over these icons, they curled at the edges. Ooh. Really not a great evolution to go from these ones, which didn't curl, to these ones, which curled. Okay, so what are we going to do with the curly icons in Joomla 3? Well, what we did was we got rid of them all. So we now have no icons. What does this mean? What it means now is your control panel, apart from looking completely different, has a lot more information there on the screen. Things have moved a little bit. The modules that were on the right are now in the middle, and the big icons are still called icons, but they're just a list. And it's just much easier to use. And of course, I said it worked on a mobile as well. It works perfectly and exactly the same on a mobile. Not shrinking, not panning, not zooming. It just works. So that's about what the interface looks like, the first screen. But the most important thing on any website is creating content. So again, what have we done with the content creation screen? Well, that's Joomla 1.0. If anyone remembers Mambo, it was also Mambo 4.0, 4.1, 4.2, and 4.3. It really didn't change. But we did have quite a nice big text area for entering content. Of course, actually, there was another one down here as well, because that was only the introduction. But enough of that. In Joomla 1.5, again, pretty similar. We introduced something new in Joomla 1.5, sliders. And in Joomla 2.5, we introduced more sliders, more options at the top, and a really, really tiny window for creating your content. And if you ever had to create a piece of content, you always had to scroll down to actually do anything. So what's happened in Joomla 3, we've gone full screen. It's right there at the top, much easier, content is right there in front of you, the main thing. That's what makes sense. And what's happened to those sliders? Well, the sliders have gone, and we've now got tabs. So we've gone from sliders to tabs. Ooh. So we got rid of the sexy icons with the curls, and we've got rid of sliders, and we've got tabs. So it's a bit of a change, but it's putting the most important thing right there in front. And of course, that means it also works beautifully on a mobile as well. You can quite happily sit there on your phone and write an article for your website and publish it straight away without any problems. So Joomla 3 is not just mobile, and it's not just about desktop. It's also about any device that will connect to the internet. Responsive design is not about building multiple templates for your website for this device and this device. It's about building your website in such a way that it will just automatically and magically work across all devices, no matter what size they are. And it doesn't matter whether you're in the office, whether you're on the beach, whether you're in bed, whether you're in bed, whether you're traveling, whether you're young or whether you're old, it just works. Yeah, the Joomla 3 interface just works on any device. You don't have to do anything, it's just there. So what's the secret sauce, the magic ingredient that allows this to happen? It's called Bootstrap. If you've not heard of Bootstrap, it's some software. It was created by two guys who used to work at Twitter. Yeah, they no longer do. It's not a product of Twitter. So anyone who calls it Twitter Bootstrap, you're wrong. It's Bootstrap from Twitter. Or now Bootstrap from the two guys who used to work at Twitter that were very nice and now did us lots of work. And this magic stuff, it's CSS, it's a bit of JavaScript, means now that Joomla 3 has jQuery built in, not just MooTools. So if you're installing an extension and you want to use jQuery, you don't need to install jQuery 300 times for all 300 modules you've just installed. It's just there. So what is it? It allows us, it means that the Joomla 3 templating system and the interface and design is HTML5, it's jQuery, it's CSS3, it's modern, working on all devices, and it's adaptive and responsive. So it's just going to work. So Joomla 3, I like to think of it as new toys for us all to play with. So the biggest, okay, that's a nice slide. The biggest thing, the biggest toy that we have in Joomla 3 is the new design, new user experience, and the new user interface. So as I said, that's the old edit article in Joomla 2.5, and that's the new one. It's when you open it up, it's right there, the content is right at the top, it's easy to see, and it's easy to edit. But I also don't like to use my mouse. Yeah, and specifically, I don't like to spend all day going. Yeah, and there's a lot of movement that you have to do with your mouse constantly in Joomla 2.5 just to do anything. So in Joomla 3, we've made a few changes. So we can see here now, this is the new article manager. All the icons across the top, kind of similar, it's fairly obvious what things are going to have to do, but there's some new features. The first new feature is drag and drop. So in Joomla 1.5, to change the ordering of something, you had to click on the ordering column, then click on the up arrow, and then on the up arrow, and the up arrow, and whoa, it was done. And if you had to move it a lot, it was a long way. In Joomla 3, we just click on the ordering and pick it up and drop it down. Now that may seem a small change, But if you've actually had to do it, it's a huge change. Yeah? And that applies in all lists. I just showed that in the article manager, but the same thing applies in the module manager or the menu manager or anything like that. You can just pick it up and drop it. Now we also have magic buttons. Yeah, what are magic buttons? Well, in Joomla 1.5, if I wanted to trash something, I would click it and then move up to the top and trash the button. If I wanted to archive it, I'd click, move up to the top and click archive. In Joomla 3, we just hover and there's a button there, trash. And we hover and archive. So we're not spending all our time moving up, moving down, moving all over the place. Little things that start to make a difference. There's also, for developers, this what I like to call magic fields. And one good example of magic fields you can find in the template manager. And if you go to the default template, which is now called Protostar, there's an option to change the template color. And it's not just a number, it's got a nice little pop-up and you can change the color. But also we have fields which show images, and we actually now have a preview of the image. So when I've selected the image, I can actually see a preview of what it is. Yeah, you don't have to remember that SXC_12345 was a picture of a house. Yeah, you can see that it's a picture of a house. Yeah, small change, big effect. Okay, so for the developers in the room who were asleep, you can now wake up. Some of the things for the developers to know about changes in Joomla 3. You are not designers. Yeah, any developer in the room, you are not a designer. Yeah, you're not. I don't care how hard you try. Yeah, you cannot make something look pretty. Yeah, when you install as many extensions as I do, you'd be amazed at how ugly someone can make something so simple. But it's not just about making it ugly, it's about making it usable. If you want a button on your website, make it look like a button. Don't make it look like a green box. And then don't complain when people say, I can't find the button. And you say, it's there. It's the big green box. How could you miss it? Oh, maybe if I make it bigger, that will work. So I take the green button and I screw up, make it even bigger. And they still can't see it because it doesn't look like a button. If you want me to click on a button, don't give me a green box. And if you still can't see it, don't make it fill up the entire screen, because now I've just got a green page with a piece of text in the middle. I'm not going to click on a piece of text on a green square. I'm going to click on a button. And don't tell me, but my users won't see it. Buttons are too small. They will. Yeah? Buttons are buttons. This is a wheel. These are some more wheels. They work. Don't reinvent it. Use the tools that Joomla provides. Now, Joomla 3 is giving developers lots of tools. If anyone's developed anything for the iPhone, you know that you get an SDK, which tells you exactly what you need to do to make it look the way Apple want it to look. And as a developer, it's great, because you've got all the tools there. You want a button, you say button. You want a save, you say save. It's always going to look the same. Think of the new Joomla toolkit like that, with one difference. And the one difference is no one's forcing you to do that if you are stupid enough to think that you know better than everybody else and you're going to do your big green box. You can do if you want. Please don't. But you can do. We do allow that. So what's in your toolbox? Well, you've got glyphs and icons right there. If you as a developer use those, you're using the same ones as every other developer. So your users will know that if they click on that icon, you don't need a massive tooltip to tell you what it is. They've already learned what that icon will do. If you apply CSS class names, you will also get funky icons, the same ones that every other developer is using. So your users don't need to read a manual to know what that button is going to do. You've got a grid layout as well to make it all designed nicely. And of course, if you follow those rules, your developed component will be responsive. So it's going to work. So it's going to work on all devices. Bless you. Gesundheit. So there are some changes in the code. There are functions that were marked as deprecated before. That means to say someone said, we're going to get rid of this in the future. Well, you know what? They weren't lying. They have. So if you need to know the things that have changed, on that URL, jum.large A3 compats, you'll find a huge long list of the things that have changed. It's still a work in process, so it typically says this has changed. It doesn't necessarily say what it's changed to. But that's being updated, and if you find something, it's a wiki, so you can always go in there and edit it. Yeah? Remember, Joomla's about us. Yeah? It's not about someone telling us what to do. So you can go in there and edit it and update it. It's not, for most people, most extensions, if they've followed the rules building on previous version of Joomla, it's not a big deal to upgrade to the new version. So developers, please use those new toys. They are there to make your life easier building your components, and they're there to make your client's life easier as well. And I like easy. So please do it. I think it might be this one actually that's crackling. Oh, is it me walking around on the...
That's nice.
That worked, yeah. That was as a stay, okay. Yeah, sit down. That's why I put the seats there. I knew they would come in handy later. Okay, you look very good. Yeah. Now, that was for the developers. What about for the designers in the room? Well, it's the same rules. Yeah? Take that toolkit and go on a diet. Yeah? A Joomla 2.5 or 1.5 template, if you look at it, typically has a huge folder full of CSS. Another huge folder full of JavaScript. And probably another even bigger folder full of something that a template developer thought was going to make their life easier, called a framework. Sometimes it does make life easier, quite often it just confuses you. So go on a diet. I'm not that good at Photoshop, I'm sorry. I tried. With Joomla 3, your templates are going to be much, much smaller. The CSS files themselves are smaller because you're using the built-in responsive layouts that are coming from Bootstrap. If you're geeky and know what I'm talking about, you can use something called less. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, don't come and ask me later because it's just a buzzword to me. But that will make things smaller. The JavaScript, well, that may not even exist anymore because Joomla's already including jQuery and MooTools, so that should make life a bit easier. And if you need a framework at all now, it's going to be much smaller because Joomla's got that framework in there. It's called Bootstrap. Yeah? Use it. Don't reinvent the wheel. So dump that hard hat. Yeah? Use your brain and start actually building your designs and your templates the way that Joomla lets you do it. Yeah? Don't reinvent that wheel. Yeah? Don't make life hard for yourself. Yeah? You may think you're being clever and showing off. You're not. You're just sitting in front of your computer for more hours than you should be. There are better things to do than sitting in front of your computer. I don't know what, but I'm told that there are better things to do than sitting in front of your computer. So don't sit on the sidelines or sit at the back of the room, please. Yeah? Share the news with other people. Let them know what Joomla 3 is all about and how it's going to make their life easier and better. Now, the big question. Are we talking about another upgrade or a migration? What's the difference? Well, before we do that, it's the big elephant in the room. Yeah? Which is it? Is it a big task to upgrade or to migrate? Well, elephants are funny things. I mean, how do you get an elephant in a fridge? Well, you start by taking out all the beer. And then it's not a problem. Now, is it an upgrade? Well, the easiest way for me to explain it is to shut up and play a video.
Let me take 2 minutes of your time to help you understand.
Can you hear that?
Understanding Joomla versions and when updates come out is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Number 1. There are 3 major versions of Joomla. Joomla 1, 2, and now 3. Number 2. Each version has short-term releases, each with 7 months of support, leading up to the 0.5 release, which is the LTS version, or long-term support release, and will be supported for around 2 years. The LTS release is the stable, reliable version you should use. The current LTS for Joomla 1 is 1.5, and the LTS for Joomla 2 is 2.5. The first Joomla 3 release will be 3.0, and around a year later, we'll see the LTS release, Joomla 3.5. Number 3. Most Joomla sites should stay with the 0.5 version, unless they need the new features from a new release cycle, or you just love to be on the leading edge. Now here's how that works in the real world. If you're still on Joomla 1.5, you should migrate to 2.5. Support for 1.5 will end with the release of Joomla 3.0. Now, Joomla 1.5 is a safe and secure platform that has had very few serious security problems in the 5 years since it's been released. You won't have any problems immediately if you stay with 1.5, but it's worth updating to a version that is supported by the Joomla team. If you're currently on Joomla 2.5, you can stay there and you'll be supported until at least the end of 2013. If you're interested in starting a new site or moving to Joomla 3, well then, here's what you need to know. Starting with Joomla 3.0, there'll be a series of short-term releases until Joomla 3.5. The LTS for Joomla 3 is released around September 2013. Joomla 2.5 is a fantastic version of Joomla, and many people won't move to Joomla 3 until this point, when Joomla 3 is completely reliable. So that's it. Understanding Joomla versions. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3.
So that kind of makes it hopefully a little bit easier to understand. You don't need to upgrade to Joomla 3 now. It's fine for you to stay on your website on 2.5, and that's exactly what you should be doing. If you're starting something new, or you want to really take advantage of the responsiveness and other things and other features, then yes, start to move over to Joomla 3. How difficult is the upgrade? It's done as an upgrade, yeah, not a migration component. Yeah, it's like going from 1.7 to 2.5. Yeah, it's a 1 click or 2 clicks. It does it. Of course, you will then have possible problems. What are those possible problems? Well, is your extension ready for Joomla 3? Remember I said, for developers, some things have changed. So you might need to update the extensions. So before you do an upgrade like that, check with all the extension developers. Yeah? Your template might need minor changes. Yeah? If you don't know how to do that sort of stuff, check with the template provider or check with the website to find out the things that you need to change. I took a gamble and my website, brian.teeman.net, was upgraded to Joomla 3.0, actually before the official release. With Robert's help, it took about 20 minutes to make a few changes for a few compatibility issues with one plugin. But how much change you have to make is going to depend on you, but it really is, it's a click upgrade, it's not a major migration effort. So Joomla 2.5 is rock solid and stable. It's not going away anytime soon. Yeah, it's there if you need that stability, if you're building websites for clients that absolutely need it to be rock solid, reliable, that's the one to go for. If you're going to go for Joomla 3, yeah, that's on the cutting edge. Now, of course, anything on the cutting edge, you can have little accidents. Yeah, but little accidents. We're talking about little cuts and grazes. We're not talking about losing an arm or a leg. Yeah, but just be prepared for that. It might be a little bit wobbly in places. Yeah, Joomla 3.0 has only been available now for 2 weeks. Yeah, there's going to be stuff that wasn't found during the initial testing process. How many people in this room downloaded a beta copy of Joomla 3 and tested it? Yeah, about half. How many people in this room, when they were testing it, found a bug or a problem? Okay, not that many. And how many of those of you who did actually reported that bug or problem? Okay, even less. Yeah, so don't go, God, they've still not fixed that. Because you found it, you report it. Yeah, don't rely on other people. Because guess what? Not everybody is a mind reader. Yeah, we can't guess. Yeah, so Joomla 3, now that it's been released, is going to get is being installed on a lot more websites by a lot more people, and now they're starting to report stuff. So Joomla 3.0 might be a bit wobbly. There's going to be much more frequent updates that you're going to have to apply to it to catch up with that. I think there's actually going to be a Joomla 3.01 release this coming week, which has already got about 200 bug fixes in. Yeah, some of them tiny, some of them a little bit bigger, but that's what happens if you stay on the Joomla 3 thing. Be prepared. You're going to need to monitor it and keep updating it. But when you do it, there's lots of goodies inside. They make your life easier. They save your poor mouse, yeah, from going up and down and up and down. You get to say, ooh, sliders, instead of tabs. Oh no, wrong way around. Sliders. Ooh, tabs. So you get to do all the good stuff, but there may be a little bit of work to do. If you want to know more, yeah, joomla.org/3. Yeah, you'll find all the information you need to know about what's new in Joomla 3, both for designers, for developers, and for users. You will also find all the download links and the video stuff, and I'm pretty certain that that version explanation video is on there as well. One final thing before I sit down, just a shameless plug. Joomla World Conference is coming up. It's the first time we've had a Joomla World Conference. It's taking place in San Jose, California in November. It should be $299, but there's a special offer. You save almost 25%. Yeah, it's not exactly 25%. I think it's like 25.1234%. But you do save some money if you use that code, which is valid until the 13th of October. So come along. It's going to be really good. And if you do come along, you're going to get to meet a lot more people, not just Joomla users in Germany, yeah, but Joomla users from across the world. Now, some of the people that you're going to meet there, or get the opportunity to spend some time with, and to talk to, and to share your views with, and to learn from, are the members of the Joomla teams. Yeah, whether that's the Open Source Matters team, the leadership team, the production team, or the community team. And actually, we're really lucky here today because we've got quite a few of those people in the room. What I'd like to do is ask Sander to stand up, and Thomas, and Radek, a new member of OSM, and Marika, she's still here. Was there anybody else? No, just the four of you. These are members of the official teams. Yeah, this is your opportunity during the next 2 days to speak to them, to be nice to them. Yeah, they give their time.
Especially nice.
Robert says you have to be especially nice. But this is your opportunity to speak to them, face to face, not over mailing list, not over Twitter, not over a forum. So take the opportunity, and if you don't do it, or you really enjoy talking to those people, you can come to the World Conference and talk to even more people like them. So I will ask if anyone has any questions for me. Not now. My rule is you have to give me a coffee or a beer, and I'll happily answer your questions. But not now, afterwards, and that's fine, and that's all. Thank you very much.